You're watching Eagle News International. I'm Archie Rose Natividad reporting from the EBC studio in Vancouver, British Columbia. Here are today's top stories. Stoltenberg says U.S. supports strong NATO. Angelina Jolie and kids attend screening of her film A Cambodian War Memoir. Thousands of Albanians protest for free election. Ukraine foreign minister not happy with ceasefire talks. Turkish Prime Minister calls on nations to stand with Turkey as he campaigns for referendum vote. Now for the story. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said that the United States wants a strong NATO after Defense Secretary Jim Mattis appeared to threaten a reduction of U.S. support for the alliance.
All allies agreed. Secretary Mattis spoke as a friend of NATO, as a leader that wants a strong NATO. And all allies agreed on the message of the importance of increased defense spending, that European allies and Canada have to invest more in defense, in our shared security.
Mattis warned North Atlantic Treaty Organization allies that they must honor military spending pledges to make sure the United States does not moderate its support.
I expect all allies to deliver on what they promised in 2014, and that is to stop the cuts, gradual increase, and then to meet the 2% target within a decade. Some allies are very close to be able to meet that target already.
U.S. President Donald Trump has raised questions about his commitment to the NATO defense alliance if European countries do not raise defense spending to 2% of economic output. The United States puts up 70% of alliance funds. Hollywood star Angelina Jolie brought her children to a screening in Cambodia of her latest film, First They Killed My Father. The film is based on author and activist Luong Ang's memoirs of being a child soldier during the Khmer Rouge's reign over Cambodia in 1975. Jolie and Ang co-wrote the script, and Jolie's Cambodian-born son Maddox was involved in the production. The Khmer language production was shot in Cambodia and used Cambodian actors and crew. In a news conference, Jolie said Cambodia is a great country of great artists. The film features on Netflix, which houses an online library of films and television, and also develops original content. The Oscar-winning actress and human rights advocate filed for divorce in September from actor Brad Pitt, citing irreconcilable differences, court documents showed. Jolie, meanwhile, said on February 2nd that U.S. President Donald Trump's executive order barring travelers from 7 Muslim-majority countries hurts vulnerable refugees and could fuel extremism. Without directly naming Trump, Jolie, who has served as a special envoy for the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, said in a New York Times opinion piece that discriminating based on religion was playing with fire. Tens of thousands of opposition supporters took to the streets of Albanian capital of Tirana, demanding the government to step down and a free and fair early election in June. Opposition protesters filled Tirana's main Skanderberg Square, holding placards, Albanian and democratic flags, and burning effigies of government officials. Democratic Party head Lulzim Basha vowed to continue the street demonstrations until the Prime Minister Edi Rama and his allies stepped down. The opposition blames the socialist government of failing to deliver 300,000 promised jobs and free health care, also accusing it of corruption and links to crime and drug traffic. The general election scheduled to be held on June 18 could pave the way for Albania to launch membership talks with the European Union. Ukraine's Foreign Minister Pavlo Klimkin said that he was not at all happy with the result of talks with Germany, France, and Russia in Munich aimed at putting an end to fighting between Ukrainian forces and Russian-backed separatists. German Foreign Minister Sigmar Gabriel told reporters that participants at the four-way meeting agreed to use their influence to implement a ceasefire starting on February 20, and that further meetings were planned over the coming weeks. But speaking to Reuters after the meeting, Ukrainian Foreign Minister Pavlo Klimkin said he was not at all happy and lamented a lack of powerful results. Echoing these comments, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said there had been a lack of results, but that he believed Ukraine and rebels would abide by the February 20th date. The Minsk peace agreement, brokered by France and Germany and signed by Russia and Ukraine in February 2015, calls for a ceasefire, the withdrawal of heavy weapons from the front line, and constitutional reform to give eastern Ukraine more autonomy. But since the deal, the sides appeared stuck in a stalemate, broken periodically by sharp resurgences of fighting that Kiev and the Kremlin accuse each other of instigating. Since the end of January, shelling on both sides of the front line near the government-held town of Avdiivka has been heavier than at any time since last summer. Turkish Prime Minister Binali Yildirim told a large crowd in Germany's Oberhausen that nations needed to unite around Turkey. Otherwise, this terrorism will burn those who want to protect it. Yildirim was on the campaign trail recommending a yes vote in the upcoming constitutional Turkish referendum on April 16. A yes vote will replace its parliamentary system with the stronger presidency long sought by incumbent Tayyip Erdogan. It would enable the president to issue decrees, declare emergency rule, and appoint ministers and top state officials. It could also see Erdogan remain in power in the NATO member state until 2029. Erdogan supporters see the plans as a guarantee of stability at a time of turmoil. Turkey's security is threatened by the wars in neighboring Syria and Iraq, and by a spate of Islamic State and Kurdish militant attacks. Opponents fear a lurch toward authoritarianism in a nation which has seen tens of thousands of people, from teachers and journalists to soldiers and police, detained since a failed coup attempt last July. Addressing a crowd of AK party supporters on Saturday, Yildirim called on nations to unite around Turkey. On to our national news. Canada's Trudeau arrives for a two-day visit to Germany. Trudeau tells EU the world needs you. Airlines must ensure pilots sober in cockpit. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau arrived at Tegel Airport for a two-day visit to Germany, where he is scheduled to hold talks with German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Trudeau praised the European Union on Thursday as an unprecedented model for peaceful cooperation in a speech to EU lawmakers that contrasted sharply with the critical stance of US President Donald Trump. Speaking to the European Parliament a day after it backed a comprehensive free trade deal between Canada and the EU known as CETA, Trudeau said the 28-nation bloc had a crucial global role to play. By contrast, Trump has questioned the value and future of the EU and has applauded Britain's shock decision to leave it. Canada and the EU share a belief in democracy, transparency, and the rule of law, human rights inclusion, and diversity, said Trudeau ahead of his visit to Germany on his European tour. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau told the European Union the world needs you, saying it has a crucial global role to play. He said this one day after the parliament backed a comprehensive free trade deal between Canada and the EU, known as the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, or CETA. That trade deal and Trudeau's appreciation of Europe is a sharp contrast to U.S. President Donald Trump's critical view of his trade partners across the Atlantic. Gary Hofbauer of Peterson Institute for International Economics. For Canada, CETA will help it reduce its reliance on the United States as an export market. Canada called on domestic airlines to ensure that pilots show up for work sober, following recent arrests for drunkenness in cockpits. The minister said he was very concerned about an early morning incident in Calgary on December 31st when a Sunwing pilot was found passed out drunk in his cockpit before takeoff, with 100 passengers on board headed to Mexico. The government reminded that it is a criminal offense for a flight crew to work within 8 hours of consuming alcohol or while under the influence. Ottawa also noted that all Canadian airlines must follow civil aviation regulations and ensure that their employees follow them. According to a Transport Ministry statement, Canada's 8 major airlines, which carry 90% passengers in this country, have confirmed that they have proper safety protocols in place to deal with alcohol and drug testing. The Sunwing pilot in question was arrested. At a time, he was found to have 3 times the legal limit of alcohol in his blood to drive a car, or 0.08%. Last July, 2 Air Transat pilots were arrested for drunkenness at a Glasgow airport in Scotland, shortly before the departure of their aircraft with 250 passengers on board. Coming up, Kathleen Cruz for entertainment this week. Mika David for a feature on the Saskatchewan Western Development Museum. Jeanette Duazo for a feature on Family Day holiday in Victoria. All these when we come back. Welcome back. You are still watching Eagle News International. I'm Archie Rose Natividad reporting from the EBC studio in Vancouver, British Columbia. Now in other news, here's Kathleen Cruz for entertainment this week.
You are still watching Eagle News International, and my name is Kathleen Cruz, your showbiz reporter for entertainment this week. Last February 12, the biggest stars in the music industry gathered together to watch each other perform, walk on the red carpet, and some come out with the golden gramophones for the 59th Annual Grammy Awards. A big congratulations to all the winners, especially Adele, who broke the record in half in tribute to Queen Beyonce.
And the Grammy goes to 25, Adele.
Producers Danger Mouse, Samuel Dixon, Paul Epworth.
Adele won 5 Grammys on the night, accepting awards for Record of the Year and Song of the Year for Hello and Album of the Year for 25. She also won Best Pop Vocal Album and Best Pop Solo Performance. The singer used her speech for the album award to say that singer Beyonce, who was nominated in the same category for her album Lemonade, should have won instead.
And I'm very humbled and I'm very grateful and gracious, but my artist of my life is Beyonce, and this album for me, the Lemonade album, was just so monumental, Beyonce. It was so monumental and so well thought out and so beautiful and soul-bearing, and we all got to see another side to you that you don't always let us see, and we appreciate that.
Grammy goes to Lemonade, Beyonce.
Beyoncé was nominated for 9 awards overall but only managed to pick up 2, Best Urban Contemporary Album and Best Music Video for Lemonade. Beyoncé, who had gone into Sunday's awards show with a leading 9 nominations for her Lemonade album, won just 2 awards. Chance the Rapper was named Best New Artist and Best Rapper, while 21 Pilots won the Grammy for Best Pop Duo Group Performance for Stress Out. The other big Grammy winner was late British singer David Bowie, who won all 5 of the nominations for his final album Black Star, including Best Rock Song. Other than the awards, late pop stars Prince and George Michael, 2 Grammy-winning pop veterans who died unexpectedly months apart last year, were honored with special musical tributes from Adele, who stumbled in the opening chords, asking it to start again for George Michael, while Bruno Mars paid homage for Prince. But that's just not it. James Corden made a hilarious entrance as he stumbled down hosting the Grammy Awards for the very first time.
Was destined for Grammys, no time for mistakes. I came in real late, this was my big break. It's just the first segment, it still can be great. Adele kicked it off, sang a big song.
That is all for entertainment this week. Again, my name is Kathleen Cruz, your showbiz reporter from Western Canada Bureau. I am 1 with 25.
Thank you, Kathleen. Now here's Mika David for a feature on the Saskatchewan Western Development Museum.
We are here right now at one of the most historic places in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, the Western Development Museum. Come with me as we explore the history of Saskatchewan. The Western Development Museum is the keeper of Saskatchewan's collective heritage. The vision of the museum is to share the province's unique sense of place with all people for their understanding and enjoyment, recognizing that the legacy of the past is the foundation for a sustainable future. The Western Development Museum is one of the 2 provincial institutions in Saskatchewan that issues and accepts the Cultural Access Pass. So that means if you became a Canadian citizen, you can come in for free. The Western Development Museum is the largest human history museum in Saskatchewan, with a collection of nearly 80,000 artifacts. The museum tells the Saskatchewan story from the beginnings of settlement to the present. It shows the history of the boomtown of Saskatoon from its humble beginnings. In the late 19th century, the lure of free homestead brought 10,000s of people to the province. Farming was the heart of Saskatchewan economy. This story is reflected in one of the largest farm machinery collections in Canada. The collection is strong in pre-1950 steam engines and tractors and field machinery of all kinds. Did you know that Saskatchewan has more roads per capita than anywhere else in the world? With people scattered over vast regions, from northern forests to southern prairies, getting around was not easy. The Western Development Museum transportation collection of canoes and boats, buggies and wagons, locomotives and rolling stocks, cars and trucks, sleighs and snowplanes, gliders and airplanes shows how Saskatchewan people met the challenge. The Western Development Museum also collects the small things that give us a glimpse of everyday life past and present, from household gadgets that Grandma once knew to the stuff of popular culture today. From clothing and textiles to hand tools and household furnishing, from communication and sports equipment to business and personal effects, and from craft items and inventions to popular culture and entertainment. The Western Development Museum collection contains thousands of artifacts related to living, working, and playing in Saskatchewan. Life in Saskatchewan is what is important to Western Development Museum, in the past and today. City folk or rural, ordinary people or famous, recently come or deeply rooted, player or fan, teacher or tradesperson, business owner or manufacturer, miner or rancher, fisher or farmer, politicians or scientists, the Western Development Museum collects objects that reflect your Saskatchewan, Canada experience. Reporting for Eagle News from Central Canada, I'm Mika David and I'm 1 with 25.
Thank you, Mika. Now here's Jeanette Duazo for a feature on the Family Day holiday in Victoria.
Family Day is a statutory holiday occurring on a Monday in February. In the provinces of Alberta, Manitoba, Ontario, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and Saskatchewan celebrates on the third Monday of February. British Columbia celebrates on the second week instead of the third week of February. Family Day was first celebrated in 1990. Alberta was the only province in Canada to have a statutory holiday in February until Saskatchewan began observing it in 2007. You may be surprised at the significant effect that spending quality time with those you love the most has on a person's levels of happiness. In a study published in the World Leisure Journal, researchers found that those who engage in recreational activities with their families were more likely to succeed in the pursuit of happiness. Although it's difficult to measure the levels of happiness of different individuals, they concluded that quality family leisure time was the best predictor of happiness. Are you lip syncing?
We know what it means to love, to care for something greater than myself.
Don't forget your friends too. We often consider our friends part of our family as well, and for good reasons. According to research from the University of Sussex, spending time with friends can result in even higher levels of happiness than just from our family. Well, however it is celebrated, whether having a mini vacation, visit and share a meal with family, staycation at home making DIY projects, wandering in a mall, or driving around town and jamming with your favorite song.
Everything about you is what I love about you.
This day is a celebration of the importance of families and family life to people and their communities. For Eagle News, this is Jeanette Duazo. I'm 1 with 25.
We've reached the end of our program today. Thank you for watching another segment of Eagle News International. From the Western Canada Bureau, I'm Archie Rose, the TV Dad. I am 1 with 25.